He stepped onto the AGT stage as just a shy Filipino boy. But the moment he opened his mouth, the world stopped. His voice, pure, aching, powerful, felt like a message from heaven, a tribute to the father he lost, and a performance that none of us saw coming. Even Simon Cowell couldn't hide his shock as this Filipino Elvis transformed the entire room with a single song. If this story touched your heart the way it touched millions, make sure you subscribe to Kindness Diaries for more emotional, inspiring journeys that celebrate talent, love, and unforgettable moments. The lights inside the AGT auditorium dim gently as the cameras cut to the stage, where a small figure slowly steps into the glow of the spotlight. He looks tiny compared to the vastness of the stage, this young Filipino boy no more than 15 clutching a microphone as though it's the only thing keeping him standing. His black shoes reflect the stage lights, freshly polished, even though the leather is clearly old. His white shirt is crisp, ironed with care, and tucked neatly into his trousers. But the thing that catches everyone's attention is the Elvis-style jacket, navy blue, studded lightly with silver accents that shimmer under the spotlight. He saved up for months to buy it. It wasn't fancy, not like the suits real Elvis impersonators wore, but it was his tribute, and he wore it proudly. From the judges' table, Simon Cowell squints slightly, tilting his head with that familiar mix of curiosity and skepticism. The crowd murmurs. Some whisper. Others chuckle softly, not out of cruelty, but because they've seen so many tribute acts, some good, most forgettable, that expectations are low. The boy swallows hard, his Adam's apple bobbing visibly. He takes a deep breath, lifts the microphone with both trembling hands, and the audience goes quiet enough to hear the rustle of his jacket. He clears his throat gently and whispers, barely audible, "This one's for my dad." Those words shift the entire atmosphere in the room. It's as if the air thickens with emotion. People lean forward. Even Simon, who moments earlier seemed mildly disinterested, raises his eyebrows with a touch of concern. The boy's voice is so soft, so fragile, that it instantly pulls the room into his world. He looks down for a moment, gathering his courage. You can almost feel the weight on his shoulders, the pressure, the memories, the fear of disappointing his father's memory. The judges watch as he explains, still quietly, that when he was young his father used to sing Elvis Presley songs every night before bed. Those were their moments, their rituals, their way of speaking love when words were hard to find. His father had promised that one day they would come to America together, and he would watch his son sing on a big stage, but life, cruel and unpredictable, had taken that chance away. His father had passed away a year earlier, and the boy's world had collapsed. He didn't come here to win. He came to honor a promise. He came to sing not just as Elvis, but with the heart of a son singing to his father one more time. The audience softens, completely. Conversations stop. Even the backstage crew peeks from behind the curtain, sensing that something meaningful is about to unfold. The boy lifts his head slowly, revealing eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and determination. For a moment he doesn't look like a contestant anymore. He looks like someone carrying a story carved deep into his soul. Then the music begins. A gentle, familiar guitar intro, classic Elvis. But instead of confidence, the boy closes his eyes tightly as though bracing himself against a storm. He draws in a deep breath, lifts the microphone again, and releases his first note. The sound is soft but steady. A warm tone, rich with emotion, vibrating with a natural depth that surprises everyone instantly. A ripple moves through the room. The audience's posture changes. Some sit straighter, others freeze mid-motion. A few glance at each other with wide eyes, the unspoken thought clear, "Wait, this kid can sing." Simon's reaction is immediate. His once lazy posture shifts. He leans forward, elbows on the table, studying the boy intensely. It's rare, very rare, for something to grab his attention this fast. His eyebrows lift slightly, and his eyes narrow, not in doubt, but in amazement. Something in that voice, something familiar yet new, something he wasn't expecting. The boy doesn't open his eyes. He pours himself into the words, his voice trembling with grief and love. He hits a low note, deep and controlled, and the audience lets out a collective inhale. There's no imitation here. No forced mimicry. What they hear is not someone pretending to be Elvis. It's someone channeling the emotion Elvis carried. Someone whose pain turns into melody, whose memories become music. As he sings, his hands begin to steady. His shoulders loosen. His voice grows stronger, fuller, shaped by every night he spent singing alone in his room, whispering songs to the memory of a man who taught him what music meant. The spotlight glows brighter around him, almost forming a halo, as though the stage itself welcomes him home. The camera cuts to the audience. A woman places her hand over her heart. A young couple exchange touched smiles. A group of teens who were giggling earlier now sit completely still. Even people backstage, contestants, crew, producers, stop what they're doing to watch the monitors. For the boy, time seems suspended. He reaches the middle of the verse and his voice cracks slightly, not from lack of skill but from emotion. It's raw, real, honest, and it pulls the entire room even deeper into his story. His breathing quickens, but he doesn't stop. The crack in his voice isn't a flaw. It's a wound that sings. Simon exhales a breath he didn't realize he was holding. He shakes his head lightly, stunned. It's not often he encounters someone who surprises him, not just with talent, but with heart. Genuine, powerful heart. The boy reaches the end of the verse, and for a moment, the music softens. He opens his eyes slowly, as if waking from a dream. The stage lights shimmer in his tears, but he keeps going, his voice smooth, warm, and breathtakingly sincere. And in that moment, the entire theater understands. This isn't just a performance. This is a promise being fulfilled. A message sent across heaven. A son singing not to an audience, not to judges, but to the memory of the man who believed in him first. And with just one verse, Simon Cowell, along with everyone else, realizes that he is witnessing something rare, something unforgettable, something truly extraordinary. The moment the boy slips into the middle of the song, something extraordinary begins to happen across the theater. The soft glow of the stage lights, the slow swing of the music, and the trembling emotion in his voice weave together into a spell that falls over the entire audience. Every second pulls people deeper into the moment, as though they're not just watching a performance, but witnessing a story unfold in real time. Just minutes ago, this shy Filipino boy seemed fragile, nervous, almost uncertain of his place on the stage. But now, with each note he releases, he becomes someone entirely different. He becomes an artist. As he hits a gentle run, lifting his voice into the high end of the phrase, Simon leans forward so far that his elbows nearly leave the table. His eyes follow every movement, every breath, and you can almost see the gears turning in his mind as he tries to make sense of the transformation unfolding before him. The boy's voice isn't just beautiful, it's controlled, warm, and filled with a depth of feeling far beyond his years. But what shocks everyone, including the judges, is how effortlessly he connects to the audience. It's like he's singing straight into their memories, touching the softest parts of their hearts. The boy continues, his voice steady now, small tremors fading away as his confidence grows. He begins to move subtly with the music, not with flashy choreography or exaggerated gestures, but with gentle sways that mirror the rhythm. His fingers tighten around the microphone, but not from fear anymore. Now it's passion, pure and unfiltered. Every lyric carries meaning, every breath seems intentional, like he's pouring pieces of his soul into the melody. A camera cuts to the front row. A woman in her 40s covers her mouth with her hand, eyes widening as tears spill. Next to her, a teenage boy stops recording with his phone, watching with his mouth slightly open. Further back, an elderly man closes his eyes, nodding softly as though remembering someone he once loved. It's as if the boy's voice is reaching into every corner of the room, awakening memories people didn't expect to feel tonight. The judges aren't immune either. Heidi Klum has her hand pressed against her heart, eyes shining with emotion. Sofia Vergara looks stunned, whispering something to Howie under her breath, something like, "This is unbelievable." Howie shakes his head slowly, a smile growing on his face despite the shock. But again it's Simon's reaction that stands out the most. His expression shifts, softening in a way that almost never happens this early in a performance. His eyes brighten, reflecting not only surprise but a rare, genuine admiration. Halfway through the next verse the boy closes his eyes again, and lifts the song to a breathtaking new height. The note he hits rings clear and strong through the auditorium. A note filled with resonance, emotion, and a haunting echo that sends chills down spines. It's the kind of note that only comes from someone singing from their heart, someone who isn't performing for fame or approval but for something deeper. The audience gasps, not loudly, but collectively. A few people whisper, "Wow," or "Oh my God," but most remain silent, completely captivated. The stage lights flicker into warmer tones, bathing him in golden hues. The camera zooms in on his face, eyes squeezed tight, eyebrows drawn together, tears gathering at the corners. This isn't a polished show. This is vulnerability displayed in its rawest form. It's a boy who lost someone he loved, calling out to him through music, hoping somehow the voice he sings with might break the barrier between worlds. The intensity builds. He moves into the bridge, and the audience can feel the shift immediately. His voice drops low, soft but full of weight, then rises gradually, gaining momentum like a wave climbing higher and higher before the break. He opens his eyes during the climb, and for the first time since he began singing, he looks directly at the audience. It's not a confident stare, it's a plea, a silent question. Do you feel this too? And they do. He reaches the highest point of the bridge, hitting a long, sustained note that seems to vibrate through the walls. The power in his voice stuns even him, and his knees buckle slightly, but he catches himself and holds the note with unwavering strength. Heidi lets out a quiet gasp. Sophia whispers, "Wow." Simon's jaw clenches, but he doesn't blink. It's not the note itself that shocks him, it's the emotion behind it. It's the way the boy's face contorts with raw honesty, like he's giving everything he has left. The theater goes silent, so silent that even the backstage hum of equipment fades beneath the weight of the moment. You could hear a pin drop. No one moves, no one breathes. For a split second, the entire world seems frozen. Then, as the music transitions into the final chorus, the boy opens up completely. His voice becomes a blend of power and softness, rising and falling like waves crashing against the shore. His hands fall from the microphone briefly, gesturing gently as though reaching for something, or someone. His eyes shine under the stage lights, wet but determined. Behind him the giant screen glows with warm reds and golds, swirling like an emotional storm. People in the audience begin to cry openly now. Some wipe their faces quickly, embarrassed, others let the tears flow freely, overwhelmed by the beauty of the moment. The boy's mother, watching from backstage, holds her hand to her chest and cries silently, her body trembling with pride and grief. As he approaches the end of the song, he softens his voice again, bringing the room into a hush. His final lines are whispered more than sung, carrying a gentle heartbreak that sends shivers through the room. The lights dim to a soft spotlight around him, making everything else fade into darkness. He finishes the last note, steady, emotional, fragile, and lowers the mic slowly. His chest rises and falls with heavy breaths. His face is flushed. His hands tremble again, but this time not from fear, from the intensity of what he just delivered. And before anyone can even clap, a profound silence lingers. The theater is still, suspended between shock and awe. People stare at him like they've just witnessed something once in a lifetime. In that silence, Simon blinks, speechless, because he knows, as does everyone else, they didn't just watch a performance, they witnessed a moment that will stay with them forever. As the final trembling note slips from the boy's lips, the entire theater falls into a silence so deep it feels unreal, like everyone is collectively holding their breath, afraid to disturb the fragile beauty of the moment they just witnessed. The stage lights dim slightly, leaving him standing in a warm circle of gold, his small figure, almost glowing, as the last echoes of the song fade into stillness. His head is bowed, eyes squeezed shut, chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. He almost feels like if he opens his eyes, the moment will disappear. That maybe none of it was real. That maybe he didn't just pour his heart out to thousands of people in a room so quiet it felt like a church. For 3 full seconds, no one moves, no applause, no murmurs. Nothing but the kind of silence that only follows something sacred. The boy feels the weight of it pressing around him, and for a moment, he's terrified. Did he fail? Did he disappoint his dad? Did his voice crack too much? Did he not sound enough like Elvis? His hands tremble at his sides, and he clutches the microphone, bracing for whatever reaction will come next. Then suddenly, a roar. The entire theater erupts all at once. Cheers exploding through the air with such force that the boy jolts. People leap to their feet in a wave of movement, clapping, shouting, screaming his name. Some cry openly, dabbing their faces with tissues or sleeves. Others raise their phones high, capturing the moment they know will go viral. The camera pans across the sea of faces, some stunned, some overwhelmed, all deeply moved. It looks like an ocean of people touched by the same emotion at the same time. Backstage, staff members are shouting, hugging each other, pointing at the monitors like they've just witnessed something historic. The boy's mother stands behind the curtain, her hands covering her mouth as tears stream down her cheeks. She cries not from sadness, but from a rush of pride and love so strong it nearly knocks her to her knees. A producer next to her whispers, "This is a moment people will never forget." On stage, the judges rise as well. Howie first, clapping with wide eyes, shaking his head like he can't believe what he just heard. Heidi immediately stands too, tears shining in her eyes as she presses both hands against her chest. Sophia's expression is full of awe, her smile wide and emotional, her eyes soft with empathy. But it's Simon who creates the moment that instantly becomes internet legend. He doesn't just stand, he rises slowly like something inside him is compelling him upward. His usual guarded expression melts away, replaced with something rare, genuine, vulnerable admiration. His eyes glisten, not with tears, but with the weight of respect he feels for the boy's courage and emotion. He stands still for several seconds, just staring at the boy with an intensity that says everything words don't. The boy looks up finally, his eyes full of fear and hope, trying to gauge Simon's reaction. And then Simon speaks, but his voice is softer than usual, quieter, like he's afraid of breaking the emotional spell still hanging in the air. I don't even know what to say," he begins, and the audience erupts again just hearing him struggle for words. "What you just did, what we all just witnessed." He pauses, searching for the right words, shaking his head slightly in amazement. "You didn't just sing an Elvis song. You didn't imitate him. You felt him, and you made us feel it too." The boy's eyes fill with tears instantly. Simon continues, his voice warm, steady, and deeply sincere. "There are performances, and then there are moments. And what you just gave us was a moment, one that people will remember." The boy's knees wobble slightly, overwhelmed by the emotion rising inside him. His fingers tighten around the microphone as tears spill freely down his cheeks. He tries to speak, but nothing comes out, not a single word. His throat is tight with gratitude and disbelief. The audience begins chanting, first softly, then louder. "Golden buzzer, golden buzzer, golden buzzer," over and over until the entire room is rumbling with it. The boy looks confused at first, then emotional, realizing what they're asking for. Simon turns slowly toward the golden buzzer button, his expression unreadable for one long suspenseful moment. The theater grows louder, voices rising, anticipation climbing like electricity through the air. The boy shakes his head slightly, overwhelmed, unable to process what's happening. Tears continue streaming down his face. Then Simon looks back at him, directly into his eyes, and says softly but clearly, "You deserve this." He reaches out and presses the button. The sound that follows is thunderous. The iconic AGT golden buzzer music blasts through the speakers as the ceiling explodes with shimmering gold confetti. Thousands of flakes rain down like stars, swirling around the boy as he drops to his knees, sobbing. He covers his face, unable to believe that this is real. The audience screams with joy, everyone standing, everyone clapping, some crying even harder than before. The judges cheer, celebrating alongside him. Heidi waves her arms in the air like a proud sister. Sophia claps so hard her rings sparkle under the lights. Howie shouts, "Yes, yes," repeatedly, pointing at the boy in disbelief. Backstage, his mother rushes onto the stage, running across the confetti-covered floor. She kneels beside him, pulling him into her arms as he cries into her shoulder. They cling to each other, both trembling, both overwhelmed by the miracle unfolding around them. Cameras zoom in on their embrace. Golden confetti settling in their hair, tears shining on their faces. It's the kind of image people will screenshot, share, replay, and remember for years. As the confetti continues to fall and the crowd continues to cheer, one thing becomes clear. This isn't just an audition, this isn't just a performance. This is a turning point, a moment that changes everything. The boy who came on stage with nothing but a song dedicated to his father, just created the kind of AGT moment that lives forever.